Hello and welcome back, and in this video we are going to be creating a simple weather widget. And in this widget what we're going to do is we're going to download some weather data from internet, and I'm going to use this API called api.lilsoftware /weather. Reason I'm using this one because this is really simple API that takes your latitude and longitude and it gives you forecast for next few days. Okay, so this is perfect for example, but you can choose open weather map or any other API that you want to use for your purpose. Now the best part about this API is it does not require any API key or anything like that. You simply go to this api.lil software api.lil/software and give your latitude and longitude, and then you get your data. Okay, so that's actually what we're going to be using. So let me keep this aside, and let's go ahead and get to our project. So I have sample project created and it does not have widget created yet, so let's go ahead and add a new widget into this. So add new target, and we're going to choose our widget extension target here, and we're going to call this weather widget. Okay, and hit create, activate, and now we are going to create some folders first. Okay, so I wanted to create folder without I only want to create like a virtual folder structure. Okay, so let's create virtual folder structure. So app, and then you have views, you have models, and we're gonna need services. So we're gonna need one service that's gonna download, and you might need some utils. Okay, so let's go with these, and widget for sure. All the widget related stuff is gonna go in here. Okay, next up, we're gonna move our app related things in here and widget into the widget. Okay, but we're gonna delete all the content that we have. Okay, but before we do that, let's go ahead and start creating some of the models and stuff. So first thing we're gonna create is a weather model. Okay, so I'm gonna select model folder and add a new file, select Swift file, click next, create, call it weather, make sure the target membership is extensions, widget extension. Okay, and then create. All right, next up we're gonna create a struct. This struct is going to be called weather. It's going to be codable or conforming to codable protocol, and we need name, and we need everything that is there as a key for this API. So I'm going to take temperature. It's I think it's listed as int. We'll see. And then next is our unit, that is as string. By the way, this API only gives you weather for United States. I think this is listed on their website. That's only available for US. The API is available for throughout the globe, but latitude and longitude information is considered only for US. Okay, so we have all these coding keys created, and that actually is our complete model. Okay, so basically with this model created, let's go ahead and create a model or our entry file. So we're gonna go into models once again. Yeah, that's also a model. And we will create a weather entry. And once again, choose Swift file, weather entry. And gonna import WidgetKit. Okay, and we might need Swift UI, so just import it in case. Struct. Let's create a struct, and this struct is gonna be called weather entry. It's gonna be of type timeline entry, and then it takes it has two things. It has public let date, okay, and public let weather. All right, so those two things are going to be there. Now this is our complete entry. So remember in the last video we talked about like having a more complex example or more complex model for our entry, and this is it. So our timeline, we expect it to provide not only the date, but we also expect it to provide the weather weather object. Okay, and weather is actually something that we're gonna okay, so weather is something that we're gonna get from our API. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the next, which is going to be the service. So we need to create a service that's going to download this weather information. Okay, so what we're going to do is go to services and create a new file called weather services, or weather service. Okay, and here we're gonna import SwiftUI because it's gonna also include the UIKit stuff in URL session and stuff like that. Not UIKit, sorry, URL session and stuff. Yep, and foundation. So class, we're gonna create weather service. Okay, and this class is gonna have URL, and this URL is going to be that URL that we've been looking for little software. So let me go ahead and copy that and paste it here. There we go. Okay, so that is the URL that we're going to be working off of, or downloading data, and we're going to create a function get weather, and this is going to be this is going to have a completion block. So completion block is going to be escaping, and it's going to provide result. Now result type is going to be an array of weather or error if it fails. Not error, second parameter is going to be result, second parameter is going to be error. Okay, all right, did we close all parentheses properly? Okay, I think we did. Okay, yeah, I wonder why it's actually suggesting me to do this. I'm sure I'm missing something. What am I missing? Okay, well, so we have a result type weather. Okay, yeah, this is very strange. Okay, so I'm actually okay. Let me do something till that time. Maybe it'll trigger. So I'm gonna create a URL directly like that, and I'm gonna say that hey, you have this, and I want to close this class right here. So I have a class and I have a function within the class. And okay, I'm gonna start typing your session. Oh, come on, Xcode. Expect and open. Aha. Okay, that is what's wrong, and I'm just being stupid here. Okay, yeah, I knew, like, there was something wrong here. URL session. Okay, so URL session dot shared dot data task. Okay, with URL. So URL we have already created right here, and this actually gives us three things: data, response, and error in. Okay, so we get that. We actually check for really quickly. Guard error should be nil, otherwise we are simply going to say completion dot failure with error. Okay, and return. All right, otherwise we're going to say completion dot success. Okay, and we're gonna parse our weather response with private function get weather response from data that returns an array of weather. Okay, and here we're gonna get our weather data. Now we are going to need a weather response object. Okay, and weather response object is basically the response that's been sent to us. So if you look at the API one more time, so let me pull up the API actually sends you an array of values in a key called forecast. Okay, so that is our response. So we don't get directly an array, we get a key value pair there where we have key as forecast and value as an array. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are simply going to create a response model, and we're gonna use that to decode weather response. Okay, and here we are simply gonna say struct weather response, and this is gonna conform to codable forecast. So this should be exactly same as the key, unless you want to deal with coding keys and stuff like that, which I don't want to right now. So I'm simply gonna copy and paste, and it's gonna have a type value is gonna be of type an array of weather. Okay, now this gives us an opportunity to basically directly parse that data using JSON decoder. So we are simply gonna say weather data is equal to try JSON decoder dot decode. Okay, and we're gonna decode the weather response. So we're gonna simply say weather response dot self, like that, and data is going to be the data that's been supplied to us, and we're going to simply say if let weather is equal to weather data, maybe other d. Okay, then we're going to simply return weather dot or weather d dot forecast. Okay, otherwise we're going to return an empty array, not empty array actually, and let's create a empty weather, and we're gonna simply say error, temperature is 0, no description, no unit, and description is going to be error as well. That way we know, like, that something bad happened. Okay, for success, we're simply gonna say then elf.get weather response, and get weather response is gonna take data. Okay, and I'm gonna force unwrap it because just because we have it. Well, you can try to do it safely. I'm just gonna leave it out just for the tutorial sake, but you can do iflet and guardlet and stuff like that, and please do it. Okay. Okay, so with that, our service is done. All right, so we've got our service, and now we are getting our weather data. Our entry is created, our model is created. So let's go ahead and create our widget first. So we actually get our all the components put together. So widget is gonna start telling us, like, you know, what are the things that it needs. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually remove all this. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then we're gonna say at main. First thing or next thing I'm going to check is target membership. Oh, it's very important. Struct weather widget, and this is going to be once again widget, and we're gonna create private kind string. Okay, private var kind string, like that. And this is going to be weather widget. All right. Okay, next up is going to be body with widget configuration. We're going to once again say static configuration, this one right here, and we're going to choose the second overload, the one that has strike through in it. If you're using beta 3, if you're using beta 2, this still works fine. Okay, there's only one, there's no overload, there's only one static configuration. Okay, next thing we need is a timeline. So let's go ahead and create our timeline. So we are going to create a new file, and let's go ahead and select Swift file, widget timeline, like that. And this widget timeline is gonna have our widget related timeline related information. So WidgetKit import Swift UI. Okay, and we're gonna create our struct. Why did I call it widget timeline? I don't know why. It should be weather timeline. Okay, weather timeline. There we go. All right, let's call it weather timeline, and this is going to be timeline provider. Okay, and once again entry. So let's give type alias entry to weather entry, which we already have, right? And next is snapshot. Our snapshot gives us basically the this is basically just a sample data sort of thing. So let's create entry, and this entry is going to be weather entry, and we're going to simply say date. And for weather, we are going to say SF 67, very common, Fahrenheit, and description maybe cloudy, which always is. Okay, then we're gonna simply call completion and entry. There we go. All right, so that's our snapshot. Then we're gonna create our timeline. Okay, and the timeline is gonna have current date. Do it slightly differently in this time than the last video. So we're gonna get the current date, we're gonna create refresh date, and we're gonna use this refresh date to refresh our timeline entry or our widget. calendar.current.date by adding, and we're gonna add minute. Okay, and we're gonna add 15-minute. Okay, and date is gonna be the current date, 15-minute to current date. Okay, next up we are going to basically call our weather service dot get weather completion. Okay, we get our result. Okay, and we can simply say if case dot success let fetch data is equal to result. All right, and here we are simply gonna say weather is equal to, and we should create a weather object. So let weather of type weather, like that, and weather is going to be fetch object dot first. We need first from the returned result. Why is that? Because we are going to be getting a whole bunch of response. It's an array, remember. For our single entry or small widget, we're gonna just show one day's forecast. So first entry that's the current weather forecast. That's what we're gonna show. Okay, and we're gonna come back, like, and basically modify this widget to have like more information later on in the next video. But for now, we are simply gonna say take the first entry. Else it is going to be weather is equal to weather with name, and this is where the error case is. So we could not fetch the weather, so that's why we're gonna say error getting weather info, like that. Okay, all right, so that's good. Okay, now let's create our weather entry. Okay, and now remember, like, this is all happening within the completion block because we have access to our weather here. So we're going to simply create our entry now, weather entry, and date is going to be the current date, and weather is going to be the weather that we have extracted from our service. And then we're going to create our timeline, like so. And entries is going to have an array which is going to have just one value. Entry policy, this is new, and this is going to be after date refresh date. Okay, this is how you can schedule to refresh your widget at certain time. Okay, you can, that what we are saying here is like whenever there's 15 minutes past to the current time, then update the widget, then next 15, then next 15, like that. Okay, and last thing is call completion with the timeline. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and build it. And yes, we know that we need to update those, so that's what we are working for. Weather timeline is going to be our provider. Next up is our placeholder. Okay, so for the placeholder, what we can do is we can create our placeholder view. So let me go ahead and create our go to our views. Do we have views? Yeah, we have views. Okay, create a new file, and we will select SwiftUI view, placeholder view, like that. Okay, and this placeholder view is gonna be a Z stack. and inside the Z stack we are gonna just say take some color. So I'm gonna use color literal, maybe color literal like that, and let's select something off white. Maybe this one is okay. Yeah, okay. And then we're gonna have a VStack, and this is something that you can use if you want to create your own redacted version. And I'm gonna just show you how you can create your own preview with your own redacted version. All you need is a whole bunch of rounded rectangles. So I'm gonna create rounded rectangle with corner radius 10 dot fill, and the fill is gonna have color dot white, and frame is gonna be width about 80, 20, and we don't care about alignment, so take center default alignment, and I'm gonna take this and copy paste 3 times like that. Okay, and we're gonna add some padding, and I'm gonna say edges ignoring safe area all like that. Okay, so that is our placeholder view, and let's go to our widget and tell it that we have a placeholder view for you. Now next up is content, so we get the entry once again, and this time it's going to be weather entry, and we need to create the weather entry here. So for weather entry we can actually need some we might need some date extensions and stuff, so we'll see. Okay, not weather entry, sorry, weather entry view is what we need. Okay, so let's go ahead and create weather view. Safety view, weather view, or weather entry view like that. Okay, and we're gonna expect entry. All right, next up is basically we're gonna create our, so let's create our base color. So let me copy the base color from placeholder, and make it as base color. Now let's make it private because we don't need to expose that one. And next is going to be a Z stack, which is going to have that base color. Okay, and then we're going to have our V stack. This V stack is going to have text, which is going to be, so these coordinates are from San Francisco. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hardcode this, and in your API, if you're using somewhere else's API, like Open Weather Map or something, and you have a city, that city actually is part of the response that you get. So you can improve upon this example, but I'm gonna actually simply show you how, I mean, the intent for this video is to show you how you can call APIs using URL session and show some data on the widgets itself. Okay, so that's why I'm using this little software API, which is like very minimal in nature. What we're gonna do here is we get our entry. So entry has information about our weather because we created that inside, and inside the weather we have information about our temperature. So we're gonna take that temperature, and then I'm gonna click Control Command Space to search for degree symbol, this one right here, and gonna select that so I can insert that here. And then we're gonna ask entry to give us unit. Okay, so that's gonna be Fahrenheit. All right, and then we are gonna say for this one is large title, so the weather temperature is in large title. Okay, Next up is our text. So we're going to show our weather condition using this helper function. So let's create helper function, and once again, because the API is minimal, it doesn't give you much, so we are just improvising weather icon. So I'm gonna create a condition string, and condition string is going to be supplied by the weather response, and depending upon what it has, we're gonna return some sort of response. So let me copy and paste that, okay, from my sample project that I created that has this information already, so you don't see me typing all these unrelated things. Okay, so I'm gonna simply uncomment this one, and all we are doing here is we are getting the current condition. Okay, and from that current condition, what we are telling it is that if you find, if that current condition contains partially sunny, then show this icon, cloudy, then show cloud, drizzle, then show this, and stuff like that. Okay, so that's what this is. It's simply getting a weather based on the conditions text. So we can simply say get condition weather condition icon for condition text, and condition text is coming inside. Actually, it's a string, so entry dot weather dot description. Okay, so description gives us that icon, or basically that description gives us that string that actually can be like created as an icon. So we're gonna get that by just pattern matching. Okay, what I'm going to do is padding as top with 10, and then next text is going to be weather dot description. Okay, and font is going to be footnote, like that. And we are also going to have an h stack here, and this h stack is going to have a spacer first, so we're going to show when the weather was updated, and it's going to have a text updated at, so, or updated, right? And you're simply going to say entry dot date dot time only, and we're gonna create this as an extension for date. So utils, let's create a new file, and this file is gonna be a cert file, date plus extensions, like that. Okay, and here we are simply gonna create extension on date, which is gonna say time only, and it's gonna give us a string let from date itself so we're gonna say date format is equal to, you need hour, minute, and AM PM. Okay, and we're gonna simply return formatter dot string from date, okay, which is self. Okay, next is let's go back, and time only should be available now. There we go. Okay, so that actually gives us just the time value when the weather was updated, right? And all we need to do is set the font for this. So I'm going to say font system size 12 points, and let's give this a foreground color, color dot gray dot opacity maybe 0.5. Let's try that. Okay. All right, and we're gonna give our stack some padding. Okay, and stack edges ignoring safe area. Okay, let's go ahead and build this and see we are getting any issue. Yes, we are, so I'm going to remove that. Okay, so let's see. Okay, entry. Yes, so now it's time to show our entry, and this entry is basically your weather entry that we have created, the view weather entry view that actually takes an entry which is weather entry, and our supply type by the static configuration is also a weather entry like we discussed. Okay, so that is basically our widget. Now there are a couple of more things that I want to provide. First of all, you can provide a display name. So configuration display name actually changes the name of the widget. So if you look at the old widget, it had let's see, it had this simple widget extension kind of like name, right? We want to provide a much more user-friendly name. Okay, so for that what we're going to do is we're going to provide a friendly name, SF weather widget, like that. Okay, and we can also provide a description, and we say this widget displays like that. Okay, all right, so now this is basically your little bit of configuration information. Now you can also limit this and say supported family. Now this takes an array, and we're gonna say we only want to support system small. This is how you filter out. You say, like, how in this widget you had, like, 3 different widgets being present, but like there was so much space and it looks kind of odd, like, all the empty space. Well, in our new widget, we're gonna say, like, that we only have small widget. We only show a small widget. Okay, let's go ahead and run this and see if once again it's launching on iPod Touch. So let me change that device, and we are going to see it in our XS Max or 11 Pro Max. Okay, so it's installing now, and our widget should have been created. Okay, there we go. So this is our preview that we created, and our weather data is, I don't know if it's being downloaded, but let's see. Let me remove this and let me add a new widget. As you can see, weather widget, and there you go. This is what we show, SF weather widget. This is our description, and sorry, this is our name, and this is the description that we have. And if you notice, there's no other widget, so we cannot scroll anywhere, right? I'm trying to scroll, but I cannot scroll anywhere because there's only this kind of widget that's available. We only support that family. Okay, next up is there is something going on in the in this, and I think we forgot to call resume. That's my bad. Let's go ahead and try it again and see if we get the weather information. Go ahead and build it again, and build succeeded. And hopefully we're gonna get our weather information. Okay, there we go. Some error. Okay, so that might be that's actually something that you might encounter where your API can throw. I've seen, like, sometimes API throws an error, but if we get, like, okay, second time it works. There we go. So this is our weather, and San Francisco is 62 degrees. It's mostly sunny. It's gonna be mostly sunny, and then it's actually the time that's given is updated at 8:04 a.m. Okay, and if you keep looking, like, just keep an eye on it. In 15-20 minutes it's gonna update. Now this is one thing that I want to actually mention as well, that your widget can request to be updated. It cannot enforce that, hey, I need to be updated, like, after 15 minutes, so it's absolute 15 minutes. No, that does not work. System actually prioritize your widget update time based on all the other values there are, or all the other widgets, or all the other operations that it's waiting on. So it's going to put your request in the queue and going to process it, but depending upon its priority. Okay, you can change that relevance by providing a relevance score, and that is actually simple. And you can simply go to your entry, and you can say relevance, and here you can basically simply return a relevance value. So you can say return relevance timeline entry relevance, and they can give it a score, and this score can be between 1 and 100, right? Where 50 is, like, your widget is, this update is somewhat important, and 100 is, like, very important, kind of like that. So I'm going to give it 50, but still it does not guarantee that it's going to be prioritized. So your widget is going to get updated relative to that time that you have provided, but it's not going to be absolute time. Okay, I've rarely seen the where it's absolute time, and I've tried, like, a whole bunch of widgets, and every single time it's more than what we provide. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And with that, our simple weather widget is created. As you can see, this example was a little bit more involved. We did a lot more things in this, and we learned about, like, widget families and stuff like that. In the next video, we are going to be expanding upon this widget and gonna create different variations for, like, for these families. We're gonna create another widget that's gonna be still the weather widget. It's gonna be for medium size, and then there's gonna be large size, but they're all gonna support different views. They can have different views and different kind of information filling the entire space that has been given to us. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing in the next video. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.